It started as a one-man sit-in, eventually sending people to jail and to the hospital, attracting nonviolent leaders and violent ones. It became one of the critical points of the 1960s civil rights movement, yet many have never heard about what happened in St. Augustine, Florida.
This is your story as much, if not more, than it's my story.
Thank you, Ambassador Young.
Civil rights leader and former UN Ambassador Andrew Young recently returned to St. Augustine to show students at Flagler College a documentary he produced about those times.
By going back and telling the story and reliving it on film, we hope to start the process of healing.
Nightly demonstrations of from 200 to 400 Negro marchers paraded to the downtown plaza around the old slave market, where as many as 1,000 people would gather and gangs of up to about 150 whites attempted to attack the Negroes.
Young's film, Crossing in St. Augustine, weaves together both historic footage and interviews with those who were there.
You know, it takes a whole lot of courage to stand up to hatred. Have you ever seen hatred where they throw bricks at you, bottles, chains, and axes? We all experienced that by just marching.
They started throwing everything they could find, and I know they had to bring a lot of that with them. And so many of our people got hurt.
They would pull our Caucasian friends out of the line first.
Tall white guy with a lot of black faces. You knew you were going to get hit.
Stay in your place, then you'll be all right in St. Augustine.
Large protests began after 6 black students were arrested for trying to get service at a local lunch counter. 4 were sent to an adult prison. Fearing peaceful protesters would begin to retaliate against the violence and hatred, Martin Luther King sent Young to intervene.
King was afraid that if it exploded into violence, it would kill the Civil Rights Bill.
Young was savagely assaulted for his efforts.
It happened to be a first for me. If we had fought back, we would have been beaten down and we would have lost the movement.
Segregated beaches were also the target of demonstrations, as was the whites-only Monson Motor Lodge and restaurant. When a group of protesters jumped in the Monson pool, the owner reacted by pouring hydrochloric acid into it. The incident was captured by the national media. President Lyndon Johnson, struggling to overcome a Senate filibuster and pass the 1964 Civil Rights Bill, voiced his concern to Attorney General Robert Kennedy.
Our whole foreign policy and everything else go to hell over this. Yesterday in the swimming pool in St. Augustine, they jumped in and police jumped in, their clothes on, they started pouring acid in the pool.
Before an audience of legislators and civil rights leaders.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was signed 2 weeks later.
It was probably the most rigorous test that nonviolence had, and we passed it. If we had not passed it, we could have lost the Civil Rights Act.
And now a new generation is getting a chance to learn Young's history lesson.
Thanks a lot.
All right, appreciate all you did for us.
April Williams, CNN, Atlanta.